Today, we're talking about Greg's experience booking a preferred hotel with choice privileges points. So, we've talked a bunch about preferred hotels recently, both for the ability to book them with choice privileges points and for the ability to book them with preferred hotel points, because both are transfer partners of Citi. And so you can transfer your Citi Thank You points 1 to 2 to choice privileges or 1 to 4 to preferred hotels. And either way, you can book preferred hotels. We've talked about the complexity of that, the various different ways, and sometimes it's better with one or the other. And Greg is fresh off of a preferred hotel stay that he booked with choice privileges points. And I'm really, really curious to hear about how this all went, because we've had a number of reports from readers, some good, some a little shaky in terms of how it
For
all
sure.
played out. Not the hotels themselves. Of course, that's always going to vary, but I'm talking about just the process of booking and having a reservation. So I guess let's just kick it off by finding out, well, where'd you go? Where'd you stay?
Yeah. So I stayed at the Seagate Hotel and Spa in Delray Beach, Florida. Um, so that's on the southeast coast, north of Fort Lauderdale. And the cash rate at the time after taxes, 515 dollars per night. I went to see whether I could book it with preferred points because that would have been a better deal. So if I booked with preferred points, it would have been 75,000 points per night. Booking with choice points was 57,000 points per night. And you would think that choice points would be the better deal because it's fewer points than I prefer points. But because Citi transfers 1 to 4 to I prefer versus 1 to 2 to choice, I prefer would be a better rate. Now, here's the thing. Of the preferred hotels that exist, not all of them can be booked with points at all. Like only maybe half or a third can be booked with points at all. And of the ones that are bookable with points, some are bookable with I prefer points, some are bookable with choice points, and some are bookable with both. There's doesn't seem to be a correlation between you would think that if a hotel was points bookable, it would be bookable with both, but it's not the case. In this case, it is bookable with both, but the award availability varies a lot. So for the dates I wanted to stay there was no availability at all with I prefer points. None. Choice, though, was wide open.
That's so
So,
weird.
yeah, yeah. So, choice was still a good value. It wasn't like spectacular value, but it was good value. I also had the benefit of I already had a lot of choice points, so I didn't have to transfer from Citi. So, in the end, I got zero point 0.9 cents per point value for my choice points, which is good for choice. It's not great, but it's decent.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's not bad. So to kind of back up a step, so 57,000 choice privileges points. If you had transferred from Citi, that would have been about 28,500 if I'm doing the math right. Thank you points per night. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that's certainly not too bad. That's a pretty good value. So if you were transferring from Citi, then even though you only got zero point 0.9 cents per point out of your choice points, really would have been like 1.8 cents per Citi thank you point, which is
That's right.
really good for Citi.
It is. I mean, it's just solid value. More and more, we're seeing that around that range. Like with the leading hotels, you're getting around 1.6. With this, I mean, it varies a lot, but getting around 1.8 is very respectable. I think I'm happy to do that with my Citi points, and so from a value point of view, it was a good deal.
And it would have been even better, like Greg said, if he could have booked with I prefer points, since they transfer 4 to 1. And I can't do the math quickly enough in my head on that one, but it's 15,000 ish, 16, 18,000, something like that. Points
Yeah,
per night, somewhere in there.
of
If
Citi
you were
points. Yeah,
transferring Citi points to I prefer, if it were available with I prefer points, it's kind of interesting that it was available to choice and not I prefer. So, I mean, I wonder if that means they're getting more money from choice in that case than they would. I don't know. The whole thing, who knows? Who knows how
I
organized it
I
is?
think
But
that's totally possible. Yeah,
yeah,
but who knows?
yeah,
We don't know what's going on behind the scenes with
right.
in terms of how much the hotels are getting
Yeah.
from these different programs.
Crazy. All right. So that gives me a little bit of a rundown. Was it easy to book? Was it difficult to book? Because I mean, we've heard various things. And I know that seeing the availability calendar and actually booking these things can be tough. Were you just able to book it on like the choice privileges side? How did you book?
Yeah, the actual act of booking it was super easy. The act of keeping the booking legitimate was harder. But let's talk about the act of booking first. The act of booking is I go to Choice has a preferred hotels page on their choice privileges site, and it says log in to search for hotels. So you log into your Choice account from that screen, and it brings you to a special preferred hotels page that's for choice privilege members, where when you search for hotels there, it shows you the point price and brings up an availability calendar when you click through a particular hotel. And then you just pick your start and end dates and book it. And it's really, when it goes right, it's seamless. I mean, sometimes what happens is at that stage, it might give an error and say there isn't availability, but that didn't happen to me. It just, I went all the way through to booking, no problem. Um,
But
it,
seamless
well,
as that
well,
may have been, you found the seam somewhere there, right?
yeah. One more thing though to say about it is that the cancellation policy was good. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like 48 hours. You know, before the stay, you can cancel for free, and when you book through Choice, you get an email confirmation that has a link that lets you cancel it. You can't change it afterwards, but you could cancel it and rebook.
Okay, so all right, that's good news, and that useful to have that. But like I kind of insinuated there, and you talked about briefly or alluded to on a previous podcast episode,
Yeah.
things did start to come apart at the seams here at some point.
Things were rocky. So I got a call from the Seagate hotel saying that they needed a credit card um, in order to take a deposit in order to keep my stay valid. And so I thought, okay, it's a prepaid stay, but they need a credit card to hold it. Fine. So I called up, gave them my credit card information, and then I looked at my account and I saw they had charged the full cash rate of the stay to my card. So they weren't looking just for a deposit; they were looking for full payment. Um, I called them back and said, "Hey, what's going on? I paid with Choice Points, etc." And it turns out what happened was they had been given a virtual credit card number from Choice or from Preferred Hotels. It's unclear to me where they got it from, but that was intended to pay for the stay. They were trying to charge that full, cash rate to that virtual credit card. It was being denied, and they didn't know what else to do, and so they called and got the payment from me. They were quick to reverse it, so I have to say that they didn't put up any fight about reversing it. Once they understood what was supposed to happen, they pursued that. So I got off that second call feeling pretty good that they now understood that they had to go to Choice or Preferred Hotels and get the payment that way.
But you
They
should have been feeling a little bad that Choice's credit card is getting declined.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I didn't
concerning.
know. Right? No, exactly. I didn't know whether I would actually be able to keep that stay.
Right.
Ultimately, but. I guess I felt good that I wasn't going to be on the hook for
Right.
that payment
Well,
anymore. Then, so I thought things were fine. Then I don't know, maybe a week later, I get a message from them saying, "Can you send the confirmation you got from Choice because we're trying to find contact information for who to talk to about this virtual credit card that's not working." And so I sent it to them, but there was no information about how to contact anyone in that confirmation. So ultimately, they called me again and told me how they tried calling Preferred, they tried calling Choice. They couldn't get anyone who knew anything about this. The Choice people told them that there's no way to book the Seagate Hotel with Choice Points,
oh, that's
because
great.
it's not a Choice hotel, and this is really common with Choice, right? If you have to
Right.
call them about Preferred Hotels as a customer, they don't, most of their call center people don't know anything about it. Until recently, that was the only way to book a preferred hotel with choice points. And so I've done that in the past a few years back where uh, you have to basically keep calling till you get someone who's even heard of the fact that there's a partnership
Right.
and then can hopefully take it to the right person after that. It was a nightmare. So it was great news when these things became bookable online, but there are still these quirks. And so I actually coached her through how to call, I mean, how to talk to Choice and ask them if they know about the relationship, and if they don't, hang up and call again. And so I never heard, and I asked multiple times for information about how this got resolved, but all I know is she eventually emailed me and said it's all good. Your stay's good. And I even uh, emailed on the morning that I was going, like for like a third time, like we're gonna be checking in tonight. Is everything good? And, yeah, you're all set, no problem.
Choice actually take care of this or what? Do they? Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's really interesting, and it's got to be fascinating because presumably, I guess we'll hear more about this in a minute or two. But presumably, it's a pretty nice hotel that you're booking. These preferred hotels in general are pretty nice places. I just imagine the front desk person at like a fancy-ish hotel calling choice privileges and like getting person after person that's like, no, we have no relationship with preferred hotels, and being
Right.
like, wow, what a booking experience. Like, that just, that would, I would think that that would raise an eyebrow at the hotel level. Like, what are we doing here partnering with these people that don't even know who we are?
Yeah, yeah. I was really hoping to run into her during my stay. I never did. I think they have like a back office area. I'm guessing that she handles things in the back office. And
Hmm.
so, anyway, I never
Yeah.
saw her.
Yeah.
So
Yep. All right. So that part, it eventually got solved. That's good. But then another kind
mm,
of horror story that we've heard from a few people is the hotel just not having any record of the reservation. Now, obviously, you've been back and forth with the hotel. So one would think that they knew you were coming and you emailed them the day of. So presumably you were able to check in without an issue.
yeah. Surprisingly, I don't know if I should be surprised after all that back and forth, but yeah, check-in was seamless. The only thing that was not great about the check-in or the stay was that the my I prefer number was on the reservation, and I have titanium status, which is their top tier status because they had done this like I don't know status matchy thing
Hmm.
last year, and so I thought I would be eligible for a room upgrade, and titanium status guarantees a food and beverage amenity. Doesn't say what it is, but you get something. Um, we didn't get either of those things. So I even asked at the desk about it. Now, you have to understand something about this hotel. They just went through a major renovation. The physical space is fantastic. It's like 5-star physical space.
Wow.
Their staff training is not 5-star.
Not quite there yet. Some
I'm not
growing
going to say
pains
too much
there.
about that here,
Okay.
but they're working on that. So anyway, this guy didn't understand titanium what it meant to have
Hmm.
status. He kept looking at the my reservation and saying it doesn't say anything on here about a food and beverage amenity. Well, of course it
Of course
wouldn't
not.
because
Yeah, because it's a
yeah,
status thing.
and
It's not part of the
and
reservation. Yeah.
right. So he said he would call someone, and if it turned out that they didn't have a food and beverage amenity for my room, he was gonna send us a bottle of prosecco as like a gift from him just to make up for it. Well, neither one ever happened.
Oh, well, swing and a miss there. But so
Yeah,
you, so
yeah.
you didn't follow up with anybody like a manager or something to find out if you would get any elite benefits?
So I emailed the same person I had been emailing back and forth with. She had always been like, other than answering about what happened with Choice, she had always been pretty quick to answer me, including the day I was checking in. So she answered right away.
Mhm.
So I said, I was basically gentle about it. I didn't say, do you know who
Right.
I am? I should be getting
Right.
perks.
Right. Right.
Instead I said, I have titanium status. The rules, the website says that it should include a room upgrade and food and beverage amenity. I didn't get those. What should I have expected? Is how I put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not a peep.
Nothing, nothing.
Still now, not a peep.
They're like, listen, buddy,
It's
listen,
just
pal,
like,
Choice's credit card still isn't working over here. So,
right. That's probably what they were thinking. It was like, this person has been such a pain in the you know what. Um, but you know what? I went in not really expecting, like I was hoping for the benefits. I wasn't really expecting it. I don't know whether they failed on the benefits. There's several reasons they could have. One, the most likely, I think, is they just don't know what they're doing with respect to that. That
Mhm.
I think the staff are. I think there was a huge amount of turnover during the renovation, and so I think the staff are new. Um, I think that so that's one up possibility. Another is that it could be that when you book with points, you're not eligible for those benefits, or at least the hotel thinks you're not eligible. That's another possibility. And it could be it's possible there's a difference between booking with choice points and I prefer points
Right.
as to how that goes as well. So I think there's a lot of possibilities there. Again, I think it's probably the hotel though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Yeah. It would have been, I guess, good to find out one way or another, but who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very difficult to say. And, I think that that is worth, though, a call out that when you're dealing with these, kind of boutique sort of hotels that are, a loose connected marketing partnership, and then they're partnering with another entity altogether, you got to go in with Greg's attitude there that you're not expecting those benefits. You're maybe hoping for them, but don't go in like you're going to lose sleep if you don't get your food and beverage amenity, because
Right.
it's not
Right.
worth having that level of expectation when there's a decent chance that it may not happen.
Yeah, exactly. And we had a great stay anyway. So
Well, that
it's
was my
not like
final question. So, how was the stay? I know, obviously, you alluded to the fact that staff could use a little bit, a little bit of polish. But what about the stay overall? The
overall it
breakfast,
was great.
property.
I'm going to tell one. I'm going to tell one service story, which was our very first interaction where we drove up to valet park our car, which seems to be the only way to deal with a car there, and you have to pay $40 a day for that. But anyway, we pull up to do it. They had this really big area for pulling your car up, and it was unclear where to pull up. The area that looked like it should be the right area, there was no one there. So there was another area, like in front of the front door, that had someone that appeared to be a valet standing there. So I thought, oh, I'll drive up there. And so rolled down the window, said, we're checking in. And he literally scoffed at me and said, you could have parked over there, and pointed towards the first area that I had slowed down. That was my greeting to the hotel. Uh,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a rough start. It's a rough
it was a
start.
rough start. It was a rough start. Luckily, it was all better after that.
Did you
Everybody
respond? You
after
could
that.
have been polite about that.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, how about a little bit like, welcome to the hotel. Next time
Right.
you pull up, pull over there, and
Right.
we'll come to you. Something
Pretty
like that.
simple.
But
Pretty simple. Yeah.
anyway,
But yeah.
I have to say, all the other valets we interacted with were great. They were very
Oh,
polite and
good.
nice. Probably because we pulled up to the right place after
How
that.
dare you pull into the wrong unmarked place? Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it
But
all
no,
worked out.
yeah, this place it's in Delray, which is a very thriving like town with lots of restaurants and bars, and it also has its own beach club where you have like a saltwater pool and beaches where they set up chairs for you and umbrellas and all that kind of stuff. There's restaurants there that you could dine, like looking out over the beach, which is really nice, and yeah, I mean overall, and also it has a pool and hot tub and all that at the hotel too. So it's got a
Nice.
lot of features. Also has a golf club, which we didn't go out to that. I don't play
Mhm.
golf, but for those that do, a lot of great five-star-ish features in this downtown Delray hotel. So a really nice place. They just need to get their act together service-wise.
Well, good luck to them and good luck to you if you book this place. But it sounds like overall a pretty easy experience, and knock on wood, a good start to this, venturing forth with preferred hotels and choice points.